And this is question number 4 of quiz 14. If a bank becomes insolvent and the FDIC reorganizes the bank by finding a willing merger partner, the FDIC resolved this insolvency problem through. So in the book, we talk about basically two primary methods that the FDIC can resolve an insolvent bank. First is what we call this payoff method. So you can, if you pull on my lecture slides, see that the first one is the payoff method. So this basically says the FDIC just pays off all the failing banks' liabilities, and the liabilities here basically mean the deposits. So it pays off the deposits, gives the deposits, gives the money back to the depositors, and then just the bank no longer exists. So that's the payoff method. But a more common method for the FDIC to resolve the insolvency problem is actually the second one, the purchase and assumption method. So in this method, the FDIC tries to find a willing partner, a willing financial institution who can take over the assets of the failing bank. But in order for the FDIC, in order for the other bank to be willing to take over the failing assets, failing bank, sometimes the FDIC has to sweeten the deal. By that, FDIC probably has to assume the liabilities of the worst assets of the bank, of the failing bank, and just leave a better asset to the other bank who is willing to take over the failing bank. So by doing that, actually that increases the cost for the taxpayers, because not only the deposits under $250,000, because we said the deposit insurance has a limit of $250,000, right? Above that, it's not, the insurance doesn't cover that. But if for this purchase and assumption method, actually FDIC not only guarantees essentially FDIC not only guarantees the deposits below this $250,000 limit, but also guarantees the deposits above that limit. So that's one of the reasons why it's more expensive to use the purchase and assumption method. So if you switch the sides, that's more expensive relative to the payoff method. But remember here, first let me answer the first part. That's the purchase and assumption method as we just explained, right? And then the second part is about which method is more costly, right, for the taxpayer. If the FDIC resolves an insolvent institution by the payoff method, right now it's resolving by the purchase and assumption method. So the second part is about if the FDIC resolve this failing institution by the payoff method, where it be more or less expensive? Because as we explained, the purchase and assumption method is more expensive. So that means the payoff method will be less expensive. So usually cheaper. All right, so now let's check our answer. Good work.